Howdy folks, hope everybody's doing real good. Beef short rib ragu on the menu this evening. Gonna be whipping up a little Italian pasta dish here that's just a little bit over the top. Extra good. To get this ragu sauce put together, we got about 2.5 pounds of bone-in beef short ribs. We're gonna saute those, get them in a Dutch oven, and then we're gonna braise them in a liquid that's gonna end up being our ragu sauce. The ingredients for this is a couple of carrots that are chopped up pretty good. We got a small to medium sized onion that's diced up pretty good. I've got about 6 ounces of mushrooms there that are chopped up. We're going to saute them off a little bit and put them in at the end. You put them in early, they're just going to disappear with this braising that we're going to do with these ribs. You're going to need a couple of cups of a dry red wine. That's a Cab Sauv. Cheap stuff would be just fine. Going to need a big old can of tomatoes. These are San Marzano tomatoes. I really like those for these ragus. You're going to need a couple of cups of beef broth. And some of the other seasonings is some tomato paste, some paprika, a little bit of red chili flake in there. We've got a Italian seasoning blend that's going to go in. A couple of teaspoons of minced garlic and some soy sauce. At the end, we're also going to add some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. This is aged about 22 months. That's a real good cheese. And some chopped up parsley there going to go in. Let's get to cooking. I'm going to get a little oil in the pot. Any high smoke point oil will do. We're over medium-high heat. We're just going to salt these ribs up a little bit right here before we drop them in. We're just going to let these sear here a few minutes on this side and turn them a few times and just get a nice color built on them, put some flavor in the bottom of that pot. Alright, got the ribs browned off, got some flavor in the pot. Let's get some vegetables in here. A little salt in, a little pep. We're just going to let these vegetables saute here about 8 to 10 minutes. They soften up a little bit. Alright, we've been cooking up here about 8 minutes. Them onions is starting to slightly caramelize and get sweet. Get some seasonings in. With some paprika and a little bit of red chili flake. We're going to get some tomato paste in. About 2 tablespoons. Got some soy sauce. Put about 2 teaspoons of soy sauce in. Garlic. About 4 teaspoons of garlic. Let that cook there just a minute. Smelling pretty good. A little red wine in here. Put about half the bottle in there. We're going to get some unsalted beef broth in, a cup and a half. Italian seasoning, about a tablespoon. Let that come up to a light simmer. We're up and bubbling. Let's get our can of tomatoes in. Smash those up a little bit. We're going to run a stick blender through this at the end and smooth it out. And then saute them mushrooms. Get that in here with some parsley. A little bit of Parmesan cheese. It's going to be an outstanding sauce. Alright, we're back up to a light simmer. And I tell you what, this smells delicious. We're going to give it a taste here before we put our ribs back in the braise. See if it needs anything. It's pretty darn good. I'm going to put a little sugar in here to cut the acidity just a little bit. A couple of teaspoons. And it needs a little salt. Instead of adding salt, I'm going to put some beef base in here. That'll add us a little more flavor and give us some salt. If you don't have that, you can just use some salt if you need it. Better, much better. A little sugar and salt did the trick. Let's get these ribs in here. Reduce the heat to a low simmer. Put a lid on here and let that cook 2 to 3 hours till that bone starts to slip out of them beef ribs. See y'all back shortly. Alright, we've been kicking about 2.5 hours here. Let's take a look, see how these are doing. They're pretty tender. Let's get them out. Let them cool. I'm going to get them pulled apart here shortly. We got to finish working on this sauce in the meantime. We're going to turn the heat up on this. Let it reduce some. Let all that fat settle to the top. I'm going to skim that off of there. Get a little olive oil in the skillet. Drop these mushrooms in. Let them brown up. Get a little salt in there. Get a little pep. While we got the mushrooms sauteing, we're just going to go through here and skim some of this fat off the top. Alright, we got most of that fat out of there. I'm going to leave some behind. I'm going to get an immersion blender in here in a few minutes. Get that smoothed out a little bit. Mushroom's looking pretty good. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of thyme in here. Let these shrooms cook with that. Here just another minute. We'll get these mushrooms in the sauce after we blend it up. Got that blended up fairly smooth. Looking real good. I'm going to put a little Parmesan cheese in here. Get a little parsley in. Give this a taste. Ragu folks approve. Boy, that is good. Real good. Get these mushrooms in the pot. Now we're going to shred these ribs up. We got it shredded up pretty good. The hardest part of this is not eat it all. It's delish. Very tender, great flavor. Let's get it in the pot. Ooh, that looks good. It's gonna be delish on some pasta. Got a pot boiling. Let's get this salted. Got 1 pound, half a gallon. Get that in there. For 10 to 12 minutes, because that's what the package says. Why not? Check one of these noodles and see where we're at on tenderness. It's about where I want mine. I like my pasta to be just a little bit al dente. I'm going to turn this off and get this pulled and put over here in the colander and let it drain a little bit. Looking pretty good. Boy, that looks delish. That's a table slapper right there. And that's it, folks. Beef short rib ragu. Till next time, peace.